Okay, so for the first time since they were hired, the Eagles' new coordinators in Vic Fangio and Kellen Moore spoke to the media, where they both talked about potential massive changes coming to both sides of the ball, including adding motion on offense and a different way of coaching on defense, among other things. Plus, Vic Fangio hinted at a potential battle at the linebacker position, while he may have also revealed that the Birds do have high hopes for one of their new additions. Meanwhile, the Eagles are continuing to bond and compete during this portion of the offseason, as we got a behind-the-scenes look into what the Eagles have been doing during voluntary OTAs. So let's talk about all that, and we won't waste any time. Let's get straight into it. Alright, so let's start this video off by looking at how the Eagles are bonding this offseason, as we just got to look behind the scenes into some of the Birds' activities and friendly competitions at voluntary OTAs. First off with AJ Brown prepping for the Eagles' autism bike ride. So that was definitely cool to see, and hopefully we don't have a repeat of last year where AJ was nearly hit by a car.
Man, I almost got hit by a car.
But then moving on and looking at some of the friendly competitions during the voluntary OTAs, Britton Covey posted a video of Dallas Goedert beating wide receiver Joseph Ngata in a UFC match. So this is definitely interesting, but again, you love to see it. I mean, it seems like the team is having fun, and I'm all for it. And you can see that again here in this video of a friendly competition between second-year safety Sidney Brown and running back Kenny Gainwell. So again, it's just awesome to see the team bonding and having fun like this. And for Sidney Brown, I mean, I know he wasn't running around in this clip or anything, but to lift that weight up and then hold it there for that long requires your knees to hold up as well. I mean, that's definitely notable because he's of course coming back from an ACL tear back in January, so I don't want to jinx it or anything, but it certainly seems like he's ahead of where you would expect him to be at during this point of his rehab. And I'll be curious to see if he could actually be ready to go for the start of the season. But again, just going back to this clip, it's just awesome to see the Birds out there on the field practicing and also building chemistry through competitions just like this. And speaking of practices, new Eagles defensive coordinator Vic Fangio wants more of them, as of course the Birds have been notorious for shorter and less practices during the Nick Sirianni era, but after the collapse of last year and now Vic Fangio coming in, it seems like he could be pushing for a change.
How have you found that you have had to adapt to the limited schedule? And in fact, in here, the Eagles probably practiced as few as any team, the least amount maybe last year as any team in the NFL. How will you adapt to that?
Well, you got to make do with what you got, but I keep pushing for more.
Did you push for more this offseason before coming here?
I'll let Nick answer that for you.
So I definitely like that. I mean, Vic has obviously been around for a very long time, 40 years to be exact, and the limited and shorter practices that the Eagles have used over the past couple seasons definitely have had their benefits, and we've seen those, especially in that 2022 season with how healthy the team was on their run to the Super Bowl. But then on the flip side, there's obviously also plenty of drawbacks, which I think we saw last year with the two new coordinators and the team looking kind of lost towards the end of the season and just really lacking in certain fundamental areas of the game. So I think a change and a switch to more practices could be a good thing, and I hope it happens. But what do you guys think? Now, in addition to saying that, Fangio of course also talked about plenty of other things, including one of the most interesting position groups for the Eagles right now in the linebacker position. And with the Birds having some uncertainty there, Fangio seemed to reveal that there could be a competition throughout the offseason to see who's going to end up starting at those two spots.
I think they're off to a good start. You know, we've got Baun here who's played a little bit of inside linebacker in New Orleans. He really didn't play a whole lot of defense there, but he was inside some, more outside. We think he can play inside, and I have not seen anything so far that says otherwise. Obviously, we got Devin here from Tampa. You guys are well aware of him. He had a great career going, had a down year last year for whatever reason. You know, we hope to get him back to where he was. You know, Nakobe's on the mend from his injuries last year. Who am I forgetting here? Keep going.
You got, there's Trotters.
Yeah, Trotter's got to come in and join the fray, and let's see what he has. And Burks, too, he's been a veteran backup. He's in the hunt, too. So, we don't have anybody established as, per se, an Eagle, but we've got guys to work with, and we're happy with the group so far.
So yeah, just based off that, it sounds like at this point, the starters are not set in stone. I think just looking at it on paper, you would probably think that Devin White and Nakobe Dean will end up being the starters, but it's definitely interesting that the first name Fangio mentioned was Baun, so maybe he could have an outside shot at the job. I mean, my bets are still definitely on one, Nakobe Dean, because he's a guy that this organization drafted and who multiple guys, including Howie Roseman, have expressed a lot of confidence in publicly, and then Devin White, because out of all the guys they have, he's clearly accomplished the most. I mean, he's won a Super Bowl, he's been an All-Pro, and he's also been a multi-time team captain, so he brings that leadership element, and I think that even though he's coming off a down year, his experience, athleticism, and accomplishments will end up aiding him in earning a starting job. And also, you heard Fangio say in that clip there that they hope to get Devin White playing at the level that he used to be at, in which he was a Pro Bowl and even All-Pro caliber player. And even though, again, I personally do have a few things that I'm a little bit concerned about with White, he's still clearly better than anything the Eagles had last year at the position. The ability and achievements are obviously there, and I cannot take those away, and he's obviously also the most established guy in the linebacker room for the Birds right now. So I'm personally growing more and more excited about Devin White and believe that he does have the potential to be great for the Eagles this year, but what do you guys think? Now, staying on the topic of Devin White, he already seems to be embracing some of his younger teammates, with him posting this picture on Instagram with the caption, "Stuff just got serious with my big youngster Jalen Carter." So first off, it's cool to see Devin White out here in an Eagles uniform on the field, because this is the first picture that I've seen of him, I believe, rocking that, but it's also just cool to hear him shout out Jalen Carter the way he did. But one thing that I am interested to know is, what did Jalen Carter actually do to prompt this post by Devin White? Like, did he do something just absolutely off the charts ridiculous or freakishly strong and athletic during practice? We may never know the answer to that, but it sounds like Carter impressed Devin White in some way, so that's definitely cool. But getting back to Vic Fangio's press conference, he obviously said a lot more than the things I've already mentioned, including talking about his scheme and how it obviously differs from guys who have gone to other places to try and emulate it. And he also said that he still has to get to know the players and find out what they're best at so that the Eagles know exactly how they're going to run their defense. So that I definitely think is great, because in my opinion, great coaching is taking the players that you have and getting the best out of them by utilizing them in ways where they're set up to succeed, not trying to just run what you run and hope the players fit in. So I definitely like to hear that. And he also said that they're going to throw a lot at the players early, so if they have to run different things later in the season than what they're used to, the guys already know everything and are prepared for every single situation. And he also said that if the defense is struggling, the way he's going to try to get them out of it is by going back to basics. So overall, a lot to take away from Vic Fangio's first presser as the Eagles defensive coordinator, but I honestly just loved hearing him talk and love what he said. But you guys can give me your thoughts down in the comments. But of course, on top of Vic Fangio speaking, we also got to hear the new offensive coordinator Kellen Moore talk to the media for the first time, and a lot came out of his press conference as well, including him praising Jalen Hurts and saying that their relationship is continuing to grow, while he also said that he believes Hurts is one of the premier QBs in this league. So I definitely can't argue with that, but really the main takeaway from his presser, in my opinion, is that just like we all figured, we're going to see very noticeable changes to the offense from last year, as he made it clear that even though they do want to make sure to not lose the good things the Eagles have done offensively in recent memory, quote, there will be changes. So even though we already knew that, that's just awesome to hear Kellen actually say it flat out, because based on how the offense looked last year, we obviously all knew that we needed to see changes happen, and one of the changes that many Eagles fans are really hoping to see is an increase in the use of pre-snap motion. And based on these comments from Moore, it sounds like that's going to happen.
Yeah, certainly the shift in motion aspect of it probably goes back, to how I grew up around the game with my dad being a high school coach and being in college at Boise State. We kind of used it a lot. And so it's always kind of stuck with me. I think there's obviously advantages to it. There's some things that you're trying to gather information for the defense, and there's other times you're simply stressing the defense. And so, I think there's those two elements, and ultimately you're trying to build packages and create things so that the run and the action game and the drop back game, and so there's alignment and there's similarities with the presentations that allows us to stress the defense with those different looks.
So there you go. It certainly seems like motion is a big part of what Kellen Moore has consistently tried to do, and something that he values and thinks is very useful, so I expect it to be a much bigger part of the Eagles offense moving forward, because with all the weapons the Birds offense has at their disposal, I mean, when you put them in motion, that's going to put the defense even more back on their heels and cause worry and confusion. And then for the Eagles, I mean, their skill players are only only going to benefit. I mean, the main guy who I really want to see put in motion a lot more is Devontae Smith, because his route running and skill is just insane, and I think putting him in different spots and getting him on the move is only going to help him and the offense. And something else that is obviously also going to help the offense is the addition of Saquon Barkley, and Kellen Moore spoke about that as well.
Saquon's a premier running back first and foremost, and so we're really excited about his ability to run the football. Obviously, behind this offensive line has done a tremendous job, and they have such cohesion and done a great job up front. He's going to be a great running back, but obviously we know the aspects that make him great is his ability to be a pass protector, to be a receiver out of the backfield. He does a phenomenal job with those things, and I think, obviously we got to try and utilize him as much as we can while understanding it's a long season for all running backs. And so, I think we got some great guys behind him, and Kenny and Will and all the rest of the guys over there that we're excited about. And so, we're fortunate to have Saquon.
I really just cannot wait to see how Kellen Moore utilizes Saquon Barkley, as well as all the other guys the Eagles have in his offense. And overall, I just love what I heard from both Kellen Moore and Vic Fangio as they spoke to the media for the first time as members of the Eagles. I think both are major step-ups from the coordinators that the Birds had last year, and I just cannot wait to see what kind of changes they make to both the offense and the defense, and how successful they can be in 2024. Now, I'm going to be continuing to cover the Eagles throughout the rest of the entire offseason and even beyond that. So if you don't want to miss any of that, make sure you subscribe, and also really importantly, turn on notifications so you're notified instantly when one of these videos is uploaded. And also, while you're at it, make sure you drop a like to show some support. I'd greatly appreciate it, and leave a comment down below just regarding anything that I talked about in this video. And if you want to watch another Eagles video, you can check this one out right here. And now, with all that being said, that's pretty much all I got for this one, guys. So thank you all so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.